Okay, so markup in the beginning is 0. How much is the markup in shipments class? How do we get that one? 108,000 divided by 120%. That will give you 90,000 times 20%, or simply deduct it from 108. We know that the markup on the shipments is 18,000. Why will we not include the purchases here? Because again, we know that there are no markup on the purchases. So the markup on our tigas is 18,000. If we already have the 18,000, what else do we need to arrive at the markup on the branch cost of goods sold? Deduct the markup on ending. Diba we solved already earlier the markup on ending class? How much is the markup on ending? Was it 8,000? Yes. Because I hope you can still remember the 8,000. The markup on the ending inventory is 8,000. So that means the markup on the cost of goods sold is 10,000. Okay? We already have the markup on the cost of goods sold class. So we already have everything we need to solve for the true branch profit. How much was the profit reported by the branch? 8,000, loss of 8,000. Okay? But you add the markup on the cost of goods sold of the branch, then you will have a profit of 2,000. And that would be the answer class. Okay, so again, remember, if you're solving for true branch profit, it is simply the profit reported by the branch plus the markup on branch cost of goods sold. But alternative solution class, alternative solution. The same computation as the first, the same computation as the computation of the branch profit, but this time use the true cost for everything. Okay, use the true cost for everything. What do I mean? You still begin with the sales of 192,000. Still sold for cost of goods sold. Okay, beginning inventory 0. But this time, instead of using, I'm actually not sure if this is the Razer class, but this is not yours. Okay, our alternative solution will be to use the true cost for everything. How much is the true cost of the 108,000 shipments class? 90,000. Okay, and then the 52,000 is the purchases that is already at cost. Okay, so this means our tigas based on true cost is 142,000. Okay, next, deduct ending inventory. But again, use the true cost. We have already solved in problem 19 the true cost of the ending inventory. How much is the true cost of the ending inventory? 52,000. So our tigas is 142,000, and then our ending inventory at true cost is 52,000. That means the cost of goods sold is 90,000. Okay, so that means this is the true cost of goods sold of the uh, branch. Uh, in our first computation class, how much was the cost of goods sold we have computed? It was 100. And then the true cost of goods sold is 90. How much is the difference? 10. Because again, we have already determined that the markup on the cost of goods sold is 10,000. So if your sales is 192,000 and then your cost of goods sold is 90,000, that means your gross profit will be 102,000. Okay, and then expenses will remain at 100,000. So the branch really does not have a loss of 8,000, but it actually has a profit of 2,000, which we have already solved earlier. Okay, now you would ask yourself, what then is the best way to solve this one? Okay, I really want you to remember or master the one I've shown you first. that the true branch profit is equal to the profit of the branch plus the markup on the branch cost of goods sold, because that will help you a lot answer, that will help you answer a lot of difficult questions. But for us to arrive there, class, what did we do? We solved first for the branch profit as reported by the branch, and then we solved for the markup on the branch cost of goods sold. So it's as if we have undergone two steps, class. Okay? In our alternative solution, what did we do? We simply solved for the profit of the branch, but instead of using the build price, we just used the true cost. And where did that end up, class? That it still ended up with the 2,000. Okay? So for easy question, class, it will work. For easy question, it will work that you will just prepare the income statement of the branch and just restate everything at its true cost. Okay, but again, I'm telling you there are problems, especially problems that have very limited given information. You will have to rely on our formula, which is true branch profit is equal to the profit reported by the branch plus the markup on branch cost of goods sold. Again, please do not forget that, class. True branch profit is equal to the profit reported by the branch plus the markup on the cost of goods sold of the branch. Okay, but again, I will understand if you will solve it this way. You just restate everything at its true cost. Okay, but what I'm after is that you understand that there is an alternative solution wherein you really just need two things to arrive at a true branch profit. Profit reported by the branch plus the markup on the cost of goods sold of the branch. Okay, let's proceed to problem 21. Problem 21. What was the build price of the branch beginning inventory? Okay. I would expect that the problem does not give us the beginning inventory because normally if you're given with the beginning inventory, it is already at build price. Since you are asked for the build price, class, it can be expected that the beginning inventory most definitely will not be given. And that is exactly the case in problem 21. Okay. But what is expected from us here, class, is to be able to work back, class. Okay? The most important information again here would be the 57,500. Okay, I hope you see the 57,500. That's the balance of your allowance. Balance as of when? December 31. But the question is this the before or after closing balance, class? Before, because we still have our nominal or temporary accounts. And if it is the before adjustment or closing balance, class, what does that amount represent? It represents the markup on your tigas. Again, class, very important. The before adjustment balance represents the markup on your tigas. And this would help us arrive at the answer, class, because we know that your tigas is composed of your beginning and shipments. And what is being asked in this problem is uh, the amount of beginning inventory. So if you can work back your tigas, deduct the shipments from the current year, you will already arrive at the beginning inventory. Okay, so let's try if we can do that. The branch obtains all of its merchandise from the home office. The home office ships the merchandise at 125% of its cost. The ending inventory of the branch is 40,000 of bill price. So class, if the markup on your tigas is 57,500, how much then is your tigas? What do you do here? You use the markup rate. How much is the markup rate? 25% above cost. So what do? You divide 57,500 by 25%. How much is 57,500 class divided by 25%? How much? 200? Because you should have the same answer, okay? You're doing the same thing. 57,500 divided by 25%. 230. Okay, so this will give you your tigas. But be careful, this is your tigas at, this is still at cost. Okay? Because you just divide it by 25%. Remember, the markup is based on cost. Markup is 25%. Markup is 57,500. And 57,500 is 25% of 230. Be careful, the 230 is still at cost. Okay? But we can actually start from the 230 already. Shipments to branch. How much is your shipments to branch? And let's just solve for both cost and bill price. So if your tigas at cost is 230,000, how much then is your tigas at bill price? 230,000 times 125%. Or simply 230,000 plus 57,500. That will give you 287, 287,500. Now, class, at this point, everyone should already know that tigas is composed of your beginning and shipments. No purchases here from outside parties. Okay? So, all we have to do to determine our inventory class is to remove the shipments. You have their class shipments of 200,000. Where do we deduct the 200,000? Do we deduct it from 230 or do we deduct it from 287,500 class? It should be deducted from the 230. Why? What's the nature of your shipments to branch? It is at cost. Okay, the 200,000 is the cost of the shipments. Okay, remember class, shipments from home office at bill price. Shipments to branch at cost. So that means our beginning inventory is 30,000. But why is that not the answer, class? Class 230 is the gas at cost. 200,000 is shipments at cost. Difference is 30,000. So the 30,000 is still at cost. And what is being asked in this problem? Build price. So what do? You add the markup class. Okay? You multiply 30,000 times 125%. How much will that give you? 37,000. Okay? What if we transform the shipments to the build price class? How much was the shipments to branch? 200,000. If you are asked, how much then is the shipments from home office? Plus, if shipments to branch is 200,000, how much is the shipments from home office? 250. That's why are you not sure? All you have to do is to multiply 200,000 by 125%. Okay, tigas at build price. How much? Tigas at build price. 287,500. And then shipments at build price. 250. So 287,500 minus 250 will give you your beginning inventory at cost or at build price. Build price because everything here is at build price of 37,500. Alternative solution. Alternative solution class. Remember that the 57,500 represents what? By the way, I hope everyone understands why we are deducting the beginning inventory. This is just derived computation na klasa. Normally, it's beginning plus shipments will give you your tigas. Here, we're starting with tigas. We're deducting the shipments to arrive at our beginning. Okay, so alternative solution. The markup on tigas is 57,500. You can solve for the markup on the shipment so that you will know how much the markup on the beginning. Class, markup on tigas is again 57,500. I want you to solve for the markup on the shipment so that you will be able to figure out the markup on the beginning. How much is the markup on the shipments? Shipments to branch is how much? Shipments to branch is how much? 200,000. How much then is the markup on the shipments? You multiply 200,000 by 25%. That will give you 50,000. So if the markup on tigas is 57,500 and the markup on the shipments is 50,000, what does that mean? That the markup on your beginning inventory is 7,500. And from that, you can already get the answer. What do you do with the 7,500? You divide it by 25%. And how much will that give you? That will still give you 30,000. And you have to be careful because the 30,000 is still the beginning inventory at cost. But what are we being asked of? We are asked of the beginning inventory at build price. So you have already solved for the cost of the beginning inventory, which is 30. You already have the markup in the beginning, which is 7.5. You just add 30,000 and 7.5, or you multiply 30,000 with 125%. You will arrive at 37,500. Okay, let's have problem 22. The branch net income as far as the home office is concerned. Again, if the question is phrased this way, what does this mean? This is the same as being asked for the true branch profit. Okay, and how do we solve for the true branch profit, class? Profit reported by the branch minus, profit reported by the branch plus the markup on branch cost of goods sold. Okay, I will insist that we use that for that solution, class. Okay, first solve for the branch profit. Okay, because it will force you to practice solving for branch profit. Where do we begin in solving for profit, class? Sales given 400,000. What's next? Solve for cost of goods sold. How much is the beginning inventory? We have already solved it earlier. 37,500. Shipments from home office 300. Is the shipments from home office 300? Is it 200? Shipments from home office. Shipments from home office. Shipments to branch is 200. So how much then is the shipments from home office? 200. This will give you 287,500. Why are we not adding any purchases? The problem states all merchandise comes from the home office. Okay, the gas is 287,500. What do we do next? Deduct ending inventory of 40,000 given in the problem, class. Okay, so that means our cost of goods sold is 247. Deduct this one from 400. This will give you 152,500. Please help me here. 152,500. What do we call the 152,500? This is your gross profit. What do we deduct from our gross profit? Expenses of how much? 100,000. So that means the profit reported by the branch is 52,500. Okay, but this is not yet the true branch profit. Do you follow, class? This is still the branch, the profit reported by the branch. After all, everything is at build price. If you already have the profit reported by the branch, what else do we need to arrive at the true branch profit? We need the markup on the branch cost of goods sold. And how do we arrive at the markup on the branch cost of goods sold? Start with the markup on the beginning. Pila yung markup on the beginning, class? We have solved this already earlier. Okay? And then we already have the markup on the shipments of 50. Actually, the problem already give you the markup on your tigas, which is 57,500, given the problem. What else do we need to deduct? Markup on ending, which is not yet given and which we have not yet solved. How much is the ending inventory, class? 40,000. How much then is the markup embedded in the 40,000? What do? You divide 40,000 by 125%, and that will give you 32,000. Times 25% or deduct it from 40, you will get 8,000. And this will give us a markup on our cost of goods sold in the amount of 49,500. Again, is that among the choices? How much the profit reported by the branch? 52,500. And then how much is the markup on the branch cost of goods sold? 49,500. Please add 52,500 and 49,500. That will give you 102,000. Okay, and that is our answer. Alternative solution. How else can we arrive at the 49,500? Because we already have our cost of goods sold. How much is our cost of goods sold? 247,500. And what do? You just solve for the markup on the 247,500. What do? 247,500 divided by 125%. How much will that give you? 247,500 divided by 125%. Class, give me the amount so that we can go home. 198,000. You multiply that with 25% or you deduct that from 247,500. That should give you 49,500. Okay? But again, I do not want you to rely on that one because that will not work if the markup rate for the current year and the markup rate from the previous year are not the same. I want you to get used in using markup of beginning plus markup on shipments minus markup on ending to arrive at the markup of your cost of goods sold. Okay? Final alternative solution. Solve for the branch profit, but this time use the true cost for everything. Okay, we still begin with sales of 400,000 and then solve for cost of goods sold. Where do we begin with our cost of goods sold? We begin with the beginning inventory, but this time we will use the true cost. How much was the beginning inventory we have solved earlier? 37,500, but that was at billed price. How much is your beginning inventory at cost? 30,000. Next, add shipments. How much was the shipments from home office? 250,000, but that was at billed price. How much is the cost of your shipments? Only 200. So that means your tigas at cost is 230,000. What else do we need to do? Deduct your ending inventory. How much was the ending inventory? 40,000, but that is still at billed price. Give me the cost of the ending inventory. That it was 32,000. So 230 minus 32,000 would give you the true cost of goods sold of the branch, which is 198,000, which is the one we have solved earlier. 400 minus 198, this would give you 202,000. And then we have expenses of 100,000. We will still arrive at a true branch profit of 102,000. So this appears to be the more straightforward way of answering it. Okay? But again, I do not want you to only know this one. It's important for me for you to know that the true branch profit is equal to the profit reported by the branch plus the markup on your branch cost of goods sold. Plus, this will only help you for the easy problems, okay? But for the more difficult problems, remember that the true branch profit is equal to the profit reported by the branch plus the markup on the cost of goods sold of the branch. Okay? we'll end here.